Good evening, everyone. Hell's Unicorn here again, and tonight I'm going to be doing a blog about the so-called Restoring Sanity rally. I've noticed over the course of the past day since the rally took place that there's been a lot of phallus measuring, just to put it bluntly, over how many people actually showed up for this rally and immediate comparisons to the Restoring Honor rally. Now, just to give you a little bit of perspective, I have gone to none of these rallies. I think it is far more productive to do things rather than simply rally about them. I think that rallies are fine and dandy, particularly if you want to convey information to a large audience. But if you're already informed, there's not really much point to it except for to get yourself jazzed up. Having said all of that, I have a couple of criticisms that I wanted to make about Jon Stewart's supposed rally, and particularly the out-and-out ill intent that I've drawn from it, although I don't know if this actually was his intention or not. Long story short, I like Jon Stewart. I think he's utterly hilarious. Whenever I watch his show, I get laughs out the wazoo, and I don't even need to be stoned in order to get them. Not saying I smoke marijuana, because I'm sure the FBI or the DEA would be busting down my door any second. I'm sure they'd love an excuse to do that, but nonetheless, it's a joke, just like most of Stewart's show. I particularly enjoy it when he takes apart neocons and occasionally also neolibs. I particularly got a good amount of humor out of that recent job he did on Keith Olbermann, who went overboard during the Massachusetts special election. And everybody knew it except for Olbermann and a couple of his equally insane pundits on MSNBC. But few pointed it out better than Jon Stewart did through his very quick and to the point mockery and satire of a performance, just to put it one way, in which he switched between, I think it was 8 different pairs of glasses, just to point out the fact that Olbermann, in addition to being a complete egghead and a dork, also looks ridiculous when he takes his glasses off and then puts them back on again for dramatic effect, and repeats himself ad nauseum. Now that I've basically prefaced my feelings about Jon Stewart, I nonetheless am not too impressed with this little rally that he had. Even if he had 1 million people show up, I pretty well would safely say that I'm not impressed, because I'm not impressed with the concept. Anybody who knows anything about the current economic situation that we find ourselves in right now will note that things are hardly sane. So restoring sanity can only happen by one of 2 ways. We either return sanity in our actual situation, or we delude ourselves into thinking that things are actually sane and simply capitulate to the situation as it is and to the powers that be who have brought us here. Case in point, the content of this rally did not really consist in any implicit solutions hidden behind the comedy. It was mostly just a bunch of back and forth mockery of Glenn Beck and other people. And you know something? I don't like Glenn Beck at all. I mean, people point out that I have things in common with him. And you know something? On a molecular level, I have things in common with a spring chicken. That doesn't mean I'm in the same category or species as one of them. But anyway, back to my original point here. I'm rambling a little bit. The whole purpose of comedy, as I see it, and this is what I've gotten out of George Carlin's work in particular, is to expose truth and to prevent it in such a way that it's digestible by people who've been dumbed down. And the best way to do that is by making them laugh. I am very big on this concept, and I occasionally like to try to mix it in a little bit with my own style of blogging. But that wasn't what I got from this particular rally. What I got from this one was sort of a thinly veiled attempt at playing partisan politics while at the same time claiming to be above the fray. This is something that moderates like John McCain and Joe Lieberman do a lot, and I really don't like those people very much. Not at all. And there was a little bit of callous mockery by Stephen Colbert later, doing his usual mock Bill O'Reilly routine, shooting ducks in a barrel, basically. Anybody can mock Bill O'Reilly. All you have to do is act pissed off and stupid, and you basically got it. Oh, and shout at people and curse at them every now and then. And then try to get it bleeped. But, of course, it will get reposted on YouTube, even if you have it edited out. I don't think it's very constructive to try to get people to relax at this current point in time. I think people need to be agitated. I think being agitated is a good thing, and I think that it will cause the kind of meaningful change that everybody thought they were getting back in 2008, but in fact they weren't. This time we may not get really the kind of change that we really need to get our situation completely under control, but I think that we'll get enough of a change that the resulting situation and circumstances will be preferable. We'll still have a lot of crap to deal with, basically as a result of the past 2 years of one-party rule, but we will have 2 years of gridlock, and that'll give us time to sort out all of this crap and learn how to modify our lives in order to live under it, and we'll basically survive and overcome. We'll find ways to deal with this Obamacare crap even if we can't get rid of it, but if we get more of this stuff piled on, the economic situation will get worse. More stimulus will mean more deficits. More deficits will mean more currency degradation. More currency degradation will lead to higher prices. Higher prices will lead to more people using food stamps, and eventually the system will go bankrupt. We'll owe all of our debt to China, and China will do whatever it wants in order to get those debts paid back. I tremble at the thought. Eventually what it'll end up leading to is the same thing that the Great Depression of the 1930s led to, which was World War II. Not a fun idea. I mean, a lot of people like to romanticize that era, talk about the greatest generation. I prefer to think of it more as the greatest generation of dupes. People that were duped into thinking that they had to fight a massive war and kill each other en masse. And when I say duped, I'm not just talking about Americans. I'm talking about the whole planet. You got Germans duped into thinking that in order to liberate themselves, they have to elect a homicidal dictator into office. I'm talking about Russia having a equally homicidal dictator. I'm talking about China. I'm talking about, Italy. I'm talking about Spain. I'm talking all over the planet. Everything just fell into the toilet, and everybody thought, okay, we need some radicals to get us out of this situation, and the next thing you know, we're killing each other en masse. And we don't really, I think, seem to have fully learned our lesson this time around. And one of the things that I do like about Glenn Beck, even though I really can't stand his melodramatic approach to delivering the truth whenever he actually speaks about it, which is probably about half of the time, is that, well, he does tell us some important points of history that we don't really get in too many other places. He gets it from the Ludwig von Mises Institute and other libertarian groups and other paleocon groups that have maintained this history, despite the greater efforts of the public education system to suppress it from the next generation. And so you get little snippets here and there, and there is a little bit of profitability, I think, in Beck actually talking about this stuff, talking about the disaster of the original progressive movement of the early 20th century, embodied in Woodrow Wilson, probably the worst president in American history. But, again, there's obvious problems of style, and there's also some substantive problems as well. I mean, Beck has not fully shunned the concept of foreign interventionism to the point that he would need to actually become a full-fledged libertarian. He's essentially pushing a bastardized version of paleoconservatism that I don't want associated with myself because it's a poison pill. There's some good stuff on the outside, but on the inside we are left with a lot of room to backslide back into neoconservatism. And I have a very strong feeling that if Beck is consistent in the way he approaches things that he will probably end up endorsing somebody like Mitt Romney, who is somebody that I will definitely not support. So anyway, getting back to this rally. In a nutshell, I don't think that this rally was constructive. I think this rally functioned in much the same way that Jon Stewart's TV show did. It's an escape for people who don't want to deal with reality. And the truth is that you're going to have to deal with reality. And if you deal with it today, you're going to end up much better off tomorrow, having not put it off for a week or two while killing brain cells listening to pointless comedy or watching stupid shows on TV. And I'm not saying that Jon Stewart has a stupid show. I'm just saying that too much of it can make you stupid. Take from it what you will. With prudence to myself and benevolence to all of you, good evening.